Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1106 on 6/6/16. There's a lot of sixes there. Ooh, the devil. It's Mike Matthews. I'm not the devil. I'm just some guy. Here at Cafe Anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, Mont, the last place on earth. Today, we have Chely Shoehart.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Floyd the Floorman, John Deere the engineer, plus a visit at we're debuting
Mike's Daily Podcast.
a brand new segment for you to listen to. It's with the guy that you probably didn't know. His name is Marko, and he'll talk to you about things that are big items
Mike's Daily Podcast
in the world. All right, we're going to talk a little bit of sports is what we're going to do, because Marko knows a lot about that.
Mike's
Especially
Daily
Bay Area sports,
Podcast,
which are particularly in the news as of late because of various things. We discuss other interesting topics as well that have to do with sports. All right, this is really not a sports podcast. I want to be honest with you. I don't know anything about it, but I will be educated on today's show. I feel as if Donald Trump has kind of gone a bad direction with this judge thing, because people were kind of starting to forget how racist he is. They kind of forgot about it for a little bit. They're like, oh, he's so funny. Oh, the way he's railing against the establishment. Ooh, I can get behind that. And then all of a sudden, with this judge being Hispanic, and he's like saying all the, because you remember, I want to build a wall. Oh, that's right. He wants to build a wall. He thinks he can really do that and get Mexico to pay. And I know people that are big Trump supporters that think that he's really going to do it. And you know what? Do you also believe in flying pirate ships and little fairies named Tinkerbell and Never Neverland and Metallica? Are you on your way to Never Neverland, you Trump supporters? Because I don't think you're living in the real world. Yes. Oh, look who just walked in. Yes, we can debate this back and forth. No, we can't, because I'm really a horrible debater. I'm not a master debater. I'm not going to go that direction with that joke. Sorry. Look who just walked in. Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, the gift shop supervisor. Nobody's buying anything. Are they buying dreams, Chely? Nobody's buying anything at the gift shop here at Cafe Anyway. I'm not making any money. Maybe Janet Yellen will raise interest rates, and then something will happen. What do you think will happen then? I don't know. It won't cost as much money to run this stupid gift shop. Nobody buys anything at. It's like gross. I know. I think. We'll see. By the time this podcast comes out, the whole world will have changed in some way or another. And yeah, we had a lot of response. Oh, look who else walked in with the Constant Coogan interview. People were like, oh, this is awesome. What a cool band. So I hope you got to listen to that last show that had Constant Coogan on it. Look who else walked in. Oh, Mike, it's Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the engineer. Mike, I heard some other interesting things happened in news today. Well, John Deere, the engineer, it appears that the Democrats are all over the place. Yikes. You got Hillary campaigning all over Southern California. You got Bernie Sanders at Crissy Fields in San Francisco. It's a lovely place. I've taken Basil the Boxer there. Yeah. So it's right there on used to be an airport right there. You can get a nice view of the Golden Gate Bridge. It's so nice. Oh, hey, let's look at the podcast picture.
And here's today's podcast picture.
It's not of Crissy Fields. No, it's of the wonderful Madame Rutabaga, who... Oh, my gosh, she just walked in. Hello, Michael Mash. It's Madame Rutabaga. Hello, Hello, Chely Shoehart. Hi, Madam Rutabaga. Your hair is, interesting. Thank you. Hello, Floyd. Hey, Madam Rutabaga. Hello, John Deere. It's good to see you, Madam Rutabaga. It's been a long time. Yes, it has! Woo. Well, I'm glad everyone got reacquainted there. You know, people like to mock my note-taking system here at work. Well, not here at Cafe anyway, but at work. I have a lot of notes as I am hitting the microphone showing. I take a lot of notes because there are many, many shows that I produce, and each person has their own way of wanting their show done. So I have to write down all the little notes for these shows. There are about 6 or 7 guys here at this station, or at my work, that mock the way I take notes. And you know what? It's sort of like I want to yell at them and say, hey, remember what your teacher told you in class when you're taking a test? Keep your eyes on your own paper. Leave me the heck alone. That's what I wanted to say. All right, now that I got that off my chest, the podcast picture is of Madam Rutabaga and I discussing something. That's right, Mixcloud. Very wonderful. All right, Mike'sDailyPodcast.com is the website to find out all the past shows. Here are the past interviews I've done. You can see the podcast pictures from the past and other things that start with the letter P. The perfect place to go. Amazon. There's a link to the Amazon rainforest. No, actually to that shopping website. But if you go through that link that I have, then it helps us out. You support the show and doesn't change the way you shop, and all is well. There's also a link to the PayPal, see more P's. And if you want to help us out through that, you get a special greeting from all the Cafe Anyway characters. It's wonderful how that works out. All right, let's get to the news segment, and it's called the Marko Minute debut right now.
Thank you, and good morning to everybody.
That's Marko.
How are you, Mike?
Good, how are you?
Barely awake, but, hanging in there.
So, I have questions for you about sports, because you know a lot about sports, and it's early. Most people are asleep right now.
Right.
What happened yesterday in sports?
All right, well, yesterday we had the Golden State Warriors just completely demolish the Cleveland Cavaliers, 110-77 in Game 2 of the Finals, which is the championship in basketball, for those of you who don't know. And the Warriors are just looking like a team that is possessed, and the Cavs look like a junior varsity team, because when you get beat by 33 points, you just, I don't know what else to say other than you just didn't show up. And the way Steve Kerr is out coaching the Cleveland guy, that if they don't make any kind of adjustments to go big, play big against the Warriors, small lineup, it's going to be a sweep. That's all I can say. And it's that simple. The Warriors are the best team. They're going to be the greatest team ever, the most wins in the regular season, and they're going to have the most wins ever in a season when they complete the, I don't know if they're going to sweep Cleveland, but it's going to go no longer than 5 games, and then they'll be world champions back to back.
Let's see. I don't know anything about sports.
Right.
Oh, I do know.
Yes.
That I watched a game. Who were they playing? Oklahoma last time they were playing, and they were scoring like pretty close to each other.
Yes.
Right? Maybe winning by just 6 points or something.
That's correct.
So this was, how many points did they win by?
They won by 33 last night, and they won 50 points in Game 1 against Cleveland, and they're only the third team in NBA history to win the first 2 games of the NBA Finals by 15 points or more. And
wow.
Oklahoma City was the only true test the Warriors have faced all year. I respect that team, and they almost beat the Warriors, but the Warriors just showed their championship pedigree, and now they're just making Cleveland look foolish out there. And I'm loving every minute of it because I can't stand LeBron James. I just hate him.
Where does this hate come from?
He's just so overhyped. The media how can I say this without sounding vulgar here? They're just all over this guy. They think he's God's gift to basketball players, the best thing since sliced bread, and yet he hasn't been able to win the title without the help of other superstars. And I just hate that everyone's just like, LeBron this, LeBron that. Stephen Curry's the best player in the universe right now, okay? And yet the guy gets no respect. So the fact that everyone's on LeBron's you-know-what and not giving any props to the Warriors and Stephen Curry, this makes me, this vindicates everything that I have been saying all along, that Steph Curry's the best and LeBron isn't.
Why does he go by Steph instead of like Steven?
Because his name's not Steven, it's actually Stephen.
It's Stephen?
Yes. His actual real name is Wardell Stephen Curry. Because his name is Wardell, but his dad went by Del Curry, and he's a famous basketball player as well.
Ah.
Yeah. So that's when. So he's Stephen, so that way he can separate himself. He didn't want to be known as Junior. He's Stephen, and so his name is not Steven, and that's a lot of people mispronounce that. They assume his name is Steven, and that he's trying to be like, like the guy from what was it, Family Matters. Urkel, him who was Stefan. Some people have called him Stefan, and he's just like, no, it's not Stefan.
How long has he been with the Warriors?
I think now this is his 7th year. They drafted him in the first round, the number 7th overall pick, I believe in 2009, I want to say. So he's been a Warrior his whole career, and I think he's going to be a Warrior his whole career. And he's the face of the NBA and face of the Warriors. And he's brought the whole Bay Area together, because if there's anything that the Bay Area sports fans have that they all root for together at one time, it's the Golden State Warriors. Because in football, you have Raider fans versus Niner fans. In baseball, you have Giants fans versus A's fans. Hockey, it's sure kind of just a South Bay entity, but the Warriors are the Bay Area's team.
I didn't know he's been with them that long.
Yes. Well, he has suffered some injuries in the beginning of his career. He had some ankle issues. So a lot of people thought, like, oh, God, the Warriors blew a pick. And they've been notorious for very bad draft picks over the years. So everyone's like, well, here's another bust. But, he worked very hard to improve his game, to improve his physical conditioning, to where he's the greatest player in the universe right now.
I think maybe I saw him then. Because I almost said I saw him in concert. Because I went to a game back in 2011. Mm-hmm. Would he have been playing?
Yes.
That was the night that guy, he had played with the Warriors. They gave him his number. They retired his
Chris
number.
Mullin, yeah, one of the greatest Warrior basketball players in the history of the franchise. My hero growing up. And, yeah, I remember that because they booed the owner that night.
Yeah, that was awkward.
Yeah. It really was, because he made a trade, and at the time he sent the most popular Warriors player to Milwaukee for Andrew Bogut and a couple other guys, and at the time everyone was like, how can you trade our most popular player for a guy who's injury prone and he's not that good? Well, at the time no one thought he was that good, so he got booed by his own fan base, and now, what was it, 5 years later, or actually 4 years later, he got the last laugh, Joe Lacob.
And then, what's his name, Mullen?
Chris Mullin.
Chris Mullin, while he was the owner was being booed, he got back up because they had just gotten the award.
Right.
And he said, hey, that's no way to behave. And he was like chastising the
Well, actually,
audience.
it wasn't Chris Mullin who did it. It was former Warriors great Rick Barry who got on the microphone and started chastising the crowd, saying, hey, you don't know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
And he went off for like a good 2 minutes, telling the crowd, bring British to shut up.
Yeah.
And it was pretty great because Rick Barry knows basketball. In fact, he was the last one to win a championship with the Warriors in 1975 before they won it last year.
Oh.
So he was part of that team. And so it's funny how you kind of bridge the gap, should I say, with Rick Barry now with like Stephen Curry and all that, because the Warriors had some good teams in the late 80s, early 90s, but they just could never put a full run together to win a championship until last year. So, and now this year, this team is even more special because they won the most games ever in the regular season. They went 73-9. No one had a better record than that. The Bulls in 95-96 had a record of 72-10. Warriors beat that this year.
Wow.
And now they've just matched them for total wins, regular season and postseason, 87. So they win 2 more games, which they will. They'll have 89 wins total in one season, the most in NBA history, which will make them the greatest team ever.
Wow, right here in the Bay Area.
Yes. It's about time. I've been waiting my whole life for this as a Bay Area and a Warriors fan.
I can't believe I saw a bit of history that night years ago. That's weird.
That's so awesome you were there at that. How'd you score tickets to that?
My ex-brother-in-law, he had tickets, and my ex-wife and I went, and we had no idea what was going on, and we saw them lose. And we had just seen a game at UC Berkeley, and they did really well against Stanford at playing basketball. And we're like, this is weird to see a game where we're losing. But you actually went to a couple Warrior games recently?
Yes, I was at Game 7 of the Warriors-Oklahoma City Western Conference Finals, and that's when the Warriors completed their comeback. They were actually down 3-1 in that series, and they came back and won three in a row to win the series 4 games to 3.
How did you score those tickets?
A buddy of mine who I do a sports show on a station here in the Bay Area, his neighbor calls him up at the last minute and says, hey, we're not going to be there. We're going to be in town Memorial Day. And that's when the Game 7 was on, last Monday, Memorial Day. And he's like, you want the tickets? And he's like, yeah. And it's funny, he texts me saying, hey, you want to go to the Game 7? And I'm thinking like maybe he wants to like go buy some tickets for that game. And I'm like, man, that's going to be like really expensive. And it's the Sharks are in the Stanley Cup Game 1. I'm like, nah, I'm cool. And then he texts me back and goes, well, okay. He goes, I understand. He goes, but my neighbor gave me free tickets. I'm like, what? Free tickets? I'm like, I'll go. So it just worked out. We had really awesome seats, 12 rows behind the basket. Saw everything just right in our face. It was an amazing night. The crowd was so electric. You couldn't even hear yourself think when the Warriors clinched the game, and the confetti was raining down afterwards. The Warrior girls, their cheerleaders, were dancing, and everyone was celebrating, hugging, high-fiving. It was an awesome time last Monday.
Thank you for that report.
Anytime.
How did the Sharks do?
The Sharks, they got off to a rocky start in their first Stanley Cup final appearance ever. 25 years in the making. They finally made the Stanley Cup final after years of where they've made the playoffs and kind of not done well. After, maybe 1 round, 2 rounds, but then after that they were done. So they got off to a rocky start. They lost the first 2 games in Pittsburgh, but they came home on this past Saturday night. Won Game 3 in overtime, a thrilling victory where they were down twice, came back to tie, and then won in overtime on Giannis Donskoy's beautiful shot from where he just goes high on the goalie side. Goalie never saw it. He was screened by his own men, and the crowd went absolutely nuts. They just went crazy when he scored the goal. That's the most deaf thing I've ever heard of building ever, because the way the SAP Center is the way they made it was the way the roof is. It's like anytime there's like any kind of like a loud noise, it reverbs.
Oh, wow.
Big time. So like when you have 17,000 people screaming all at once, it sounds like 50,000 people in there. It was so awesome. Game 4 is tonight. I'm going to be there.
Wow.
The Sharks have a chance to tie the series, make it a best of 3 after that, and we'll see what happens. And I'm just going to say it would be very amazing that if the Warriors and the Sharks win their respective titles in the same year. It's never happened, never. This is really the first time they've ever been to the finals in the same year, and it would be amazing. I probably could die after that and say I lived a happy life.
Wow. Were you at the last Sharks game then?
Yes, I was at Game 3. I witnessed that. Fortunately for me, I was able to score a press pass from the NHL. So
wow.
Yeah, it's really awesome. Got to interview the players afterwards, and got some good post-game sound bites from my other station that I'm at.
Muhammad Ali passed away.
Yes.
And I thought it was interesting that at his... wait, was the funeral already? I don't know.
No, I think that's this week, because he just died. I believe it was Saturday night that he died, or was it Friday night? It was just recent that he passed.
And Billy Crystal is going to be like one of the main people at the funeral. I didn't know he was such good friends with Muhammad Ali. He used to do a Muhammad Ali impression on Saturday Night Live years ago.
It was awesome. And in fact, even before he got on Saturday Night Live, he would do an impression of him. Whenever like they got together, like back in the 70s, and I think there was this one press conference they were doing, and Billy Crystal is so spot on with his impersonations. I mean, if you didn't know any better, if you just had your eyes closed, you would think you were listening to Muhammad Ali. That's how great Billy Crystal was. It's funny, Billy Crystal's done a lot of sports entities. He's a big sports fan too himself, actually. actually. He's a Yankees fan. I know that.
Oh, okay.
And well, being from New York and all that. So, but it's funny because even though he's a Yankees fan, he's also a LA Clippers fan too. So it's funny in basketball. But yeah, he. Billy Crystal was awesome at doing impersonation, especially of Muhammad Ali. And Muhammad Ali will go down as one of the greatest boxers of all time. Really, you can't say anyone was maybe better than maybe top three. He's definitely one of the top three, if not number one. So it's sad that he's now gone.
He even recorded an album. They used to play songs off of it on Dr. Demento.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, he would, and then he would, I think there was a song that was like a rap that he did his whole fly like a butterfly, sting like a bee, and they threw all that in there. And wow, I can't believe I actually talked a little sports on my podcast.
Look at that. You talked more than a little sports. This was great. What are we at? 10 minutes right now?
Gee, yeah. The MARKO Minute lasted over 10 minutes. Wow.
Look at that.
So should I put sports on my tag in podcasts, and maybe I'll get a bunch of listeners?
You might just expand your horizon of an audience now and get more people listening, because they're not going to think you know what you're talking about.
No, I let you do all the talking.
That's why I like to hear.
and your shirt says, "To err is human, to blame someone else shows good management skills."
Exactly, because I've been in a lot of places where this T-shirt has been very, very true.
Oh boy, I've been thrown under buses by management it wasn't my fault. Well, that's a whole other topic.
Right. Maybe next time we'll talk about our experiences being thrown under a bus.
Not to be partial or anything. Go Warriors, go Sharks.
Been a pleasure, Mike.
Thank you, Marco. All right. As we go outside of Cafe Anyway, we're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley. Now you know so much more about sports than you did at the beginning. I know more than I did, because I know nothing about sports, and there you go. Next show, it is going to be Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. Oh, and next show, I'll probably have voted. It's good to finally... In California, we see the rest of the country vote all frickin' year long, and now we finally get our say. And it actually matters this time, so it's pretty awesome. Yay.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye.